Hey family, my name is Tiffany and welcome back to my channel. So I know it's been a while since I've posted a video. I got really sick right before Yangapalooza, and I've just been spending these last couple weeks here getting better, but I've been keeping a close eye on what's been happening with Andrew Yang and the Yang Gang, and now that I'm feeling a little bit better, I just want to reflect and add my 2 cents about everything that's been happening. A couple of days before Yangapalooza on Twitter, this guy Michael Satoshi, he goes under Tattooed Lawyer, posted this tweet and it literally made me scream. It said, can't say much, but just know that some behind the scenes things are being worked on right now for Yang. That could be huge in terms of PR and the Black vote. After the phone call I just had, I'm feeling very optimistic about them coming to fruition. So when I saw that tweet, I was so excited. I was like, okay, I don't know, like he has some insider information or what, but literally I feel like all month I kind of was like, all right, Andrew Yang, like let's kind of make that push to the Black voters. So it was just like, okay, yes. So the campaign's actually doing something. So it was just like really encouraging. And a couple of days after that, Andrew Yang had an interview on Hot 97 with EBRO in the morning. And if you don't know Hot 97, they are like the biggest hip hop channel in New York. It's like a historical channel. It's been there for years. They have a huge listener base, which dips into the Black community and also like the Hispanic community. And I think their audience tends to be a little bit older, but they do have some younger listeners too. So it was so great. And if you haven't seen that interview, you should see it. I'm going to link it in the description below. It was such a good interview. You could really see like Andrew's just become like more confident in himself, especially when he's answering questions that relate to like other communities. I feel like he's really starting to like make the question, you know, kind of like tailoring it to the group that he's talking to, because in this interview they talked about reparations and his stance on like Puerto Rico, and I feel like those are things that whenever he goes to his more white audience, obviously he doesn't talk about, so people in like Black or brown communities might not think that he has a stance. So I was just like screaming for joy with this interview. I thought it was great, and the people that were interviewing him, they were pretty familiar with him and had been kind of paying attention. So I just love interviews like this where the people that he's interviewing like actually are like semi-interested or have been paying attention to him. And then after this was Yangapalooza and his speech at the Liberty and Justice dinner. And honestly, to this day, when I listen to that speech, it gives me chills. It was so good. So, and it's honestly not surprising. There were so many people from the Yang Gang at Yangapalooza, and I had so much FOMO. I was watching the live streams and the videos, having so much FOMO. I was like, man, I wish I could be there. But well, next time there's a Yang event, I'm definitely going to be there. I cannot miss out. And there was also an NDouble Forum at Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa, which I thought was so great. I love when they have like these forums that are geared more towards like Black audiences, but they don't really have them in cities or towns where you would automatically think they're Black people. I know as a Black person from Minnesota, whenever people find out like, you know, from out of state that I live in Minnesota, they're like, what? There's Black people in Minnesota? So it was just great because like these are Black people in Des Moines, like there are Black people in Iowa, and the audience loved him. He answered his questions again, tailored them to his audience to really like make them understand like he has a stance when it comes to racial issues. And they were like these articles about Andrew Yang that were so positive, and it was so great. And I love that we're doing the Yang Media shout out now. I think it's so much better and so much more positive because we're shouting people out. So it's kind of like positive incentives for them to have more positive articles. And I saw this week the Zach and Matt show posted a tweet saying that Andrew Yang was increasing his paid staffers in New Hampshire, and that there's going to be about 100 of them there. So he's going to be rivaling Bernie Sanders in New Hampshire. And I mean, genuinely, we do think that Andrew Yang can win Iowa, like take the whole thing. So I think this is so great that he's decided to invest in New Hampshire, but he's also been investing in South Carolina. He now has 3 offices in South Carolina, in Charleston, Greensville, and Columbia. If you are in South Carolina and near any of those cities, please go volunteer your time. I know they always need volunteers. Now, if you're not anywhere near there, I know there's a bunch of like subsections of the Yang Gang. Please make sure to connect with your local Yang Gang and mobilize. Try to make sure that your Yang Gang is, doing something every single weekend, even though you cannot specifically. Try to like make, some sort of action, because like we said, those early states, especially South Carolina, the online presence is great, but we really need it to translate on the ground. So if you are in South Carolina and you have not yet, committed to canvassing or any of those things, like try at least make it like a personal mission. Try to do it like once a month if you can between now and primary vote. Like if you can, that's great. If you can't, obviously donate. I will also leave that link in the description. Please donate to the campaign. Andrew Yang's trying to raise $1 million before Wednesday so that we can keep on pushing on with these ads in Iowa. So please donate. And also his ad in Iowa, like I thought it was so great. I think it was such a good ad. Coming from the Midwest, I know like ads like that really do weigh heavily on people. So when I saw that ad, I was like, yes, this is a great introductory ad for people, especially in the Midwest, just where like, the life here, the vibe, the values are different. I mean, obviously you go to West Coast, East Coast, South, they're all different like vibes. So I thought it was like a really great introduction. I also looked back into the Black Power ranking that The Root has been doing, and this past Friday they had Andrew Yang in 8th place. He's gone down 2 spots from the week before. But what they said is that Yang has actually dropped with Black voters in polls this week, despite spending more money and expanding his staff. According to some pundits out there, that must mean he's suddenly a part of the LGBTQIA community. Speaking of intolerance, the committee thinks the poll drop is because Yang started bragging about an endorsement from Jenny's ice cream, which is not a good look when over 60% of Black folks are lactose intolerant. Seriously though, Jenny's makes the best ice cream sandwiches. Mix some Lactaid with Robitussin and you'll be all good. I don't understand that. However, his drop in our polls is mostly because of his new stance against active shooter drills in schools. We get it. These drills traumatize kids, and as Dave Chappelle pointed out in his last Netflix special, shooting drills basically leave the next maniac kid a treasure map on where his classmates will be hiding. But mass shootings are rare and often a suburban problem. The fact is, Black students fear gun violence more than any other group of children in America. And talking about high profile, i.e. white, mass school shootings, while important, doesn't get at the day-to-day concerns of Black kids in schools that have been wrecked by violence long before the TV cameras showed up. The committee knows Yang likes math, but the numbers just aren't adding up when it comes to nuanced Black policies this week. Now, I wanted to highlight this article because, obviously they threw in a little bit shade in there. But if you really focus on the last paragraph where they talked about the reason why they dropped Andrew Yang, yes, they brought up the shooter drills, but it wasn't even really that he's against shooter drills. It's more of his tone deafness when he was talking about how, you know, school shooting drills shouldn't happen because they only happen in suburban areas and they're not very likely to happen. So I just don't think it's something that you should focus on. And I don't even think that the person who wrote this disagrees with that. I think they probably are against school shooting drills. But to say like, oh, this is like a white suburban problem, it kind of does like have this like tone deaf undertone where it's like you don't realize that gun violence in the Black community has been happening for years, and it's not just school shootings, it's like in the neighborhoods where kids live that they have to worry about gun violence, walking to school. Like these are real life issues that Black kids, Black and brown kids really have been dealing with. And that's really, I wanted to highlight this because I see this a lot within Andrew Yang's campaign, where he really does mean well, and what he's saying he means well, but just because of his lack of understanding of like the different nuances and how especially the African American community might react to something is completely different. And it's not even his fault, and it's really not anyone's fault. It's just these are certain things that you would not really understand unless you've been in that community, and that's something that you've really dealt with. Even people who are in the Black community that haven't had to deal with gun violence might not be able to understand that. And I'm someone who tries to always understand every side of the coin, and when I read this, I really understood what they meant. And I think this is going to be the point where Andrew really needs to work on if he wants to get that Black vote. It's going to be understanding those nuances, and even though like what he's saying is a valid statement, he also needs to like, you know, talk about like, yes, okay, these are issues and this is how they're dealing with this way, but then also kind of talk about the racial nuances that are in certain issues where no one really cared about gun violence until white kids started getting killed, you know. And those are like kind of the things within the Black community that it can be hard for us to like look beyond, even when somebody is meaning well essentially and they're actually saying things that make sense. It's just that the Black community has just been left behind for so long that it can be difficult to really trust that, you know, does this person understand the problems? Because if you don't understand the problem, you can't really fix the problem. So that's where I personally think Andrew needs to improve, but I do think he is improving. I genuinely do, because I can see that he's becoming way more comfortable like answering these questions, and he does need to just like be put in front of Black and brown people just so they can listen to him. And that brings me up to what is coming up for the rest of November. And if you were on Twitter last week, Andrew kind of hinted that he would be going back to the Breakfast Club sometime in November. But this past weekend, he tweeted that he would actually be going on the Breakfast Club this week. So I'm really excited for that interview, because the Hot 97 interview just went so great, where I think he really was able to like expand on his solutions to problems within like Black and brown communities. And I think this is just going to be like another great way to hit that audience specifically, because so many people listen to those stations. So that's going to be so exciting. That's happening this week. And then another thing that's happening this month is the debates on November 20th, and they're going to be in Atlanta, Georgia at the Tyler Perry Studios. And I think this is another essential place where Andrew Yang can really distinguish how his plans will help Black and brown people, because Atlanta is a huge hub for the Black community. Black Hollywood is there, and it's at the Tyler Perry Studios, which is like a shining bright spot in like the Black community. Tyler Perry opening his like the first Black man to ever own a studio, and it's so much bigger than all of these other studios. Like it's a real great source of pride within the Black community. So I think that there's going to be a lot of Black people that are paying attention to these debates just because they're in Atlanta. And also the Tyler Perry studio, like literally for just shallow reasons like that, there will be people who listen, but I think it's a great place where he can really spread his message and paint out how his plan is really going to help Black people and brown people, because people just need to hear like specifically like, hey, yeah, this is a great idea, but like, how are you going to help me specifically? Like sometimes you literally have to tell them like this and this and this. And I think Andrew's getting really good at doing that. So I'm excited to see what he has, and we'll see what else he has planned for us. You know, hopefully he's got some exciting things coming up. You know, California, Nevada are going to be coming up next weekend too. So I'm so excited to see all the stuff that the campaign has. If you guys have not donated yet, again, I'm going to remind you, please donate. The link is in the description. Please make sure you donate. If you've already donated or you can't donate anymore, please volunteer your time. Your time is so valuable. It's actually could be almost even more valuable than the money. I mean, money's valuable too, I mean, obviously, but time is really, really valuable. So if you can donate your time, donate it. If you can canvas. If you can volunteer. If you can't do that and you're just busy, text and phone bank. That's another great way that you can help the campaign from the comfort of your own home, whatever you're doing, where you can like fit it into your schedule. Try to make it like a mission, you know, every single day. Try to do something. Make sure you do the Yang challenge. Donate, volunteer, canvas, phone bank, text bank, anything you can do it. If you can do all of it, do it. Just our passion is gonna be the difference between Andrew Yang winning and him losing. So we've got to keep pushing all the way to the end. And also, if you are not signed up for Yang Week yet, make sure you sign up. Come on now, guys, let's sign up. And if you're not able to go to Yang Week, try to make it a mission to at least go to Iowa one weekend and canvas there or volunteer there. Do one or the other, just because it's so essential. We know Iowa is so important. It's the first state to vote. They're doing a caucus, so the enthusiasm matters, and we can't really get people enthusiastic if they don't know who Andrew Yang is. So please, I know you're already probably doing a lot. It's a lot to ask for, but like, this is what we have to do. This is what grassroots movement is that we need to do everything within our power that we can. I mean, fit it in within your schedule. Obviously, we're busy, but just try any way that you can. So much appreciated. If you guys have any more comments, suggestions, how we can help or elevate this campaign, make sure you leave it in the comment section below. I make sure to read all the comments, so please make sure you comment. If you like this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And if you want to see the next time that I post, you can hit the subscribe button and the bell so you'll be notified the next time that I post. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you, and you have a great rest of your day. Peace.